don't play, we take it to the house. MIAA, take it to the house. This the way we take it to the house. Take it to the house, take it to the house. We don't fly, take it to the house. Well, we got that fly, take it to the house. Slip and slide, take it to the house. 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 Take it to the house.
The house, the end zone, the promised land, whatever you want to call it, Pittsburgh State reached there a record number of times in 2004. In fact, the 2004 Gorillas scored more points and gained more yards than any team in NCAA history. But it wasn't just the offense. The Pitt State defense made more than their fair share of big plays as the Gorillas advanced all the way to Florence, Alabama in the Division II National Championship game for the first time since 1995. Pittsburgh State opened up the 2004 season determined to compete not only for another MIAA championship, but a Division II National Championship as well. And the potential was clearly there with Harlan Hill candidate Neil Philpott returning at quarterback, explosive talent at wide receiver and running back, and a physical offensive line. The defense featured experienced players at the linebacker and secondary positions, and the defensive line was anxious to show what they could do. And when Pitt State took the field for their opener against Western State College, the number 7 ranked Gorillas were ready to unleash an offense prepared to elevate their game to a new level. It was an impressive debut, 56-6 over Western State, and a sign of things to come. Next up for the Gorillas, it was time to take this show on the road to the other side of Kansas and Fort Hays State. Pitt State dominated on both sides of the ball once again, winning 45-7. Now they would head back home to begin MIAA play. And with Neil Philpott out with an injury, it was time for Andy Majors to step in and start the next two games at quarterback against Truman State and Southwest Baptist. But the Pitt State offense showed no signs of slowing down. Pitt State and their big machine offense flexed their muscles to a 77-7 win over Truman, piling up 718 total yards of offense, setting a new school record. And the fun would continue against Southwest Baptist. Utter domination over the Bearcats, 69-0. The defense getting their first shutout of the season, while the offense scored on their first 11 possessions of the game. But if Pittsburgh State fans thought they'd seen the offense reach their scoring peak, think again. Next up, a road trip to Rolla as Neil Philpott returned to the line.
That's how we do it. That's all I know. By yourself, there's no sound, nothing's changing. They've gone away, left you there. Emptiness is nothing you
Gorillas put 91 points on the board and gained 809 yards of total offense, both school and MIAA modern-day records. And believe it or not, Pitt State actually got off to a slow start in this one, scoring only 7 points in the first quarter. But the bottom line for the third-ranked Gorillas, they were now 5-0, and the winning would carry on with Washburn, then a road trip to Emporia State.
Out $100 bills, and it kills and it thrills like the horns on my Silverado grill. And I buy the bar a double round of Crown, and everybody's getting down in this town. Ain't never gonna be the same, 'cause I saddle up my horse and I ride into the city. I make a lot of noise 'cause the girls, they are so pretty. Riding up and down Broadway on my old stud Leroy. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Everybody says, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Well, I don't give a dang about nothing. I'm singing and bling-blinging while the girls are drinking. Long necks down, and I wouldn't trade old Leroy or my Chevrolet for your Escalade or your freak parade. I'm the only John Wayne left in this town, and I saddle up my horse and I ride into the city. I make a lot of noise 'cause the girls, they are so pretty. Riding up and down Broadway on my old stud Leroy, and the girls say, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Everybody says, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Thoroughbred, that's what she said in the back of my truck bed as I was getting buzzed on suds out on some backcountry road. We were flying high, fine as wine, having ourselves a big and rich time, and I was going just about as far as she'd let me go. But her evaluation of my cowboy reputation had me begging for salvation all night long. So I took her out gigging frogs, introduced her to my old bird dog, and sang her every Willie Nelson song I can think of, and we made love. And I saddle up my horse and I ride into the city. I make a lot of noise 'cause the girls, they are so pretty. Riding up and down Broadway on my old stud Leroy, and the girls say, save a horse, ride a cowboy. Everybody says, save a horse, ride a cowboy.
What's up, Pittsburgh? Put on point right now. We're not stopping.
For the first time, Pitt State faced some adversity, leading only 35-27 in the third quarter against Emporia State. But the Gorillas handled it in convincing fashion, winning 72-27, as Neil Philpott set a Pitt State record with 401 yards of total offense. Now Pitt State was 7-0 and ranked number 2 in the nation when Missouri Southern entered the jungle. Pitt State dominated to another big win, but Gorilla fans and players will never forget this incident at the end of the game, when Southern coach John Ware yelled at Coach Chuck Broyles and accused him of running up the score. Fortunately, Coach Broyles kept his cool, and the incident didn't lead to anything worse. Pitt State improved to 8-0 after the Southern win, but something else happened a couple days later that made Pitt State fans even more excited. Pitt State moved up to #1 in the national rankings for the first time this season. And up next, the top-ranked Gorillas made a road trip to Missouri Western. Pitt State improved to 9-0 with a 48-21 win over Western. Jermaine Race finished with 175 yards and 3 touchdowns on the ground. And the Gorillas' rushing attack would dominate again in their next game at Carney Smith Stadium against the Mules of Central Missouri. Jermaine Race pounded away for a career-high 231 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns in a 47-27 win, setting up a matchup players, coaches, and fans had been looking forward to for weeks, a showdown with 10-0 and #2 ranked Northwest. This would decide the MIAA championship and the top seed for the playoffs. And if that wasn't motivation enough, Pittsburgh State was looking to snap a 7-game losing streak to the Bearcats. So safe to say, emotions ran very high for this one at Arrowhead.
All my life I've been searching for something. Something never comes, never leads to nothing. Nothing satisfies, but I'm getting close, closer to the prize at the end of the road. All night long, I'm dreaming of the day when it comes around and it's taken away. Leaves me with the feeling that I feel the most. Feel it come to life when I see your ghost. inside. On and on, I got nothing to hide. On and on, I got nothing to hide.
Pitt State would finish the job 21-17, winning their 10th MIAA title in 16 years. The win also gave Chuck Broyles his 9th conference championship, making him the first coach in MIAA history to win that many. Now it was time for the playoffs. When the playoff pairings were announced, Pittsburgh State did indeed earn the #1 seed in the Southwest region, and that meant a first-round bye. So the Gorillas' playoff journey would begin a couple weeks later, and it would begin at home against the 12-0 Colorado School of Mines.
It's a beautiful day. Sky falls, you feel that it's a beautiful day. Don't let it get away on the road. But you've got no destination in the mind. In the maze of her imagination, your love is down. Even if that doesn't ring true, you've been all over, and it's been all over you. It's a beautiful day. Don't let it get away. It's a beautiful day. Touch me. Take me to that other place. Teach me, baby. I know I'm not a hopeless case. Go crazy! See the world in green and blue. See China right in front of you. See the canyons broken by cloud. See the tuna fleets clearing the sea out. See the bedroom fires up now. See the oil fields up for splat. And see the bird with a leaf in her mouth. After the flood, all the colors came out. It was a beautiful day. Don't let it get away.
Pittsburgh State would dominate like they'd done all season, winning 70-35 in front of a sellout crowd. And even before the game was over, Pitt State fans were lining up for tickets for the next round. A hot ticket, no doubt, with a Northwest rematch, the next challenge.
like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time and time again. I'm a new day rising. I'm a brand new sky to hang stars upon tonight. I'm a little divided. Do I stay or run away and leave it all behind? It's times like these you learn to live again. It's times like these you give and give again. It's times like these you learn to love again. It's times like these, time and time again.
We're going to semis, baby!
It was a game filled with wild momentum changes, but Pittsburgh State simply would not be denied, winning it 50-36. Pitt State was now in the national semifinals, and it was time to face another old foe, the North Dakota Fighting Sioux, a team that knocked Pittsburgh State out of the playoffs last year, but this time the game would be played at Carney Smith Stadium.
Hello, my friend, we'll meet again. It's been a while, where should we begin? Feels like forever. Within my heart of memories, a perfect love that you gave to me. Oh, I remember when you left me. I'm careless, I believe. Above the others will fly. This brings tears to my eyes, my sacrifice. We've seen our share of ups and downs. Oh, how quickly life can turn around in an instant. It feels so good to reunite within yourself and within life. Let's find peace there. 'Cause when you are with me, I'm free. I'm careless, I believe. Above the others will fly. This brings tears to my eyes.
Hellwig on the left side, I believe, and turn, give it to no play action to throw the football, looking into the end zone, wide open. And he got it! And Jimmy Pitt! Touchdown! Pittsburgh State! I tell you, he was so wide open. And Pitt State has won 31-19 over North Dakota.
was sweet redemption for Pittsburg State as the Gorillas wore down North Dakota in the fourth quarter to win it 31-19 and advance to the national championship game. This would be Pitt State's first trip to Florence, Alabama since 1995, and Gorilla fans would show up in full force. Over 6,000 made the trip.
We've been down here 4 times, and we won in 91, and those boogers beat us in 92 and 95, but boy, we're going to take it home this year. 204's the year. That's the year for PSU, right?
Yeah, Gorilla fans were pretty excited, and who could blame them? This was for the national championship, and the matchup would be a real test against a Blazer team with a number of Division I transfers. Pittsburg State would fall just one win short of their ultimate goal in a hard-fought game that was one of the most competitive title games in Division II history. But for Pittsburg State, the 2004 season was one that we'll never forget, and it was a journey that will live in NCAA history.